Hey everybody, we are back for part 2 of the Stark Jegan build, and unfortunately I've had some issues with my camera, and a lot of the footage I was filming showing off the airbrush booth in action uh, is lost. Some of it's on there, but it's kind of jacked up, so you guys don't really need to see me airbrushing unless someone wants to see it, and I can make another video of it the next time around. But I've got everything airbrushed, and just kind of showing some of it off here real quick. I just did some like kind of basic pre-shading, and I'm a novice, so don't really look at what I'm doing and think that's exactly how you need to do it. But the cool thing about it is, you don't really have to be that good at it to get good results when you compare it to like a spray can paint job. So what I basically did is went over like what we see here, like for the green. Now if you kind of look in here, you can see like a darker green and then a lighter green. And basically I just went over everything in the first dark coat and then kind of highlighted some of the areas that I wanted to stand and pop out. Now the yellow pieces, like in there, they were just green, and I went over it with a Gundam marker, which is eluding me at this point. I don't know where I put that thing. But I can show you guys what those look like if you have never seen them. And I'm not sure where I have them put. That's kind of strange. Oh, here it is. So, Gundam marker. Pretty easy. It just has the color loaded inside the pen. It has a little ball bearing in there, and you mix it up and just put the color where you want it. I was trying to go about it first with just a brush, and I wasn't having super great results, so I went to that, and it looks okay. It's not super terrible, but and then for the black pieces, the same thing like I did for the green. I went over that with a really dark base coat, and then just kind of highlighted it with the lighter colors that I wanted it to look like, and it gives it a really cool shading effect. You can also see it on like the missile pods here. I didn't really do any right there because you don't really see that piece a whole lot. But I mean, I think it came out looking pretty cool for a first timer. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. So all that's next is panel lining, and then I'm going to get the kit put back together, and we'll have a completed Jegan. So let's take a look at the panel lining. Alrighty, and the idea for panel lining your kit is to basically look where you're going to see some detail, kind of like what we're looking at right there. And when I look at this, I think it would look a lot better if there was a black line there in that groove. So that's what we're going to do. So there's a couple of different tools you can use to do that. I just recently picked up a couple of these Real Touch markers, and this one you actually use for doing panel lines if you want to. So it has two ends on it. This end, which is actually a little bit bigger. No, I'm sorry. This is the bigger end. The smaller end's on the other side. And what I used to use before was a micron pen, and that's just something you can buy at any art supply store. Like I bought mine at Michael's, and it worked very well. One of the things to point out, though, that I don't think I ever really hear a lot of people talk about, but I found out, is if you don't have your kit painted, when you're using this, you're going to get some excess on it, and you clean the excess off with just a Q-tip. But if your kit's not painted, you still can get that excess off, but you have to be careful because it's going to mark it a little bit. You'll actually see like a dark spot where you wipe off as much of the excess as you can, and it's still going to leave a little mark. So just be careful about that. Try to get it cleaned off as fast as you can. But when you have the kits painted, and like you can see, this is kind of glossy because it has an enamel paint on it, it doesn't cling to it a whole lot, and it makes it a little bit easier to clean off. So all I'm going to do is take this guy, and I want a line down the center of this piece. So, gotta kind of get this figured out. I'm just going to go down it. And you can see I'm kind of going over it a few extra times in certain places because I really want it to get in there. And then once it's done, you just take your Q-tip and you clean off the excess. Just like so. And now you've got some nice detail popping out. So I am going to apply this same process to the rest of the kit. Alright, and there's one more thing I was going to show before we have the completed kit. Now on this kit there is the, if I can get it in the camera, there's the sight right here for the bazooka. There's also a sight for the beam gun. And then on the kit itself, if you're looking at the picture, they kind of show it where the visor is. They show a little bit of aluminum, kind of like right where that hole is. And if you can see right there, I've already got the aluminum on it. If I can get that in the camera. And basically all I'm doing is taking Model Master paint, it's aluminum color, and then I'm going over it. Now this one is basically done. I just need to get some of the aluminum on there, and then the clear blue plate that goes over this will finish the job. However, for these guys, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get the aluminum in there, and then I'm going to go over it once it's dried with some clear blue, since you can see in some of the shots it has that look to it. So we'll see how that works out. And basically all I'm doing is taking my paint and a little bit of it on the tip of my bamboo skewer, and I'm just going to put it in there. And I don't really see a lot of people do this, and I can understand the reasoning, just because it's not going to sit super flat in there because you're not using a paintbrush or anything. But these are super fine small areas, and I just don't really have anything that's going to go in there. And it doesn't really hurt me too much if it doesn't look perfectly flat. But it gets the paint in there, and the results aren't super bad. Right? And if you can see, there's just a little bit of aluminum there, which is what I'm looking for. Then we can let these things dry, and then we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to put just a little bit of the clear blue in it, and that should complete it. Lastly, we're going to do the stickers, and there's not going to be anything super special here. It's just a sticker. This kit, I think if you wanted to, you could go out and find some decals for it. Maybe not for this kit, but for a 1:144 scale kit, you could probably even use like Char counterattack decals, and they would come out pretty nice. But I'm just going to use the stickers that came with this, since I'm not really being super picky about it. So now that that's done, we're going to finish painting this. I'm going to put a clear flat coat on it, and then we can take a look at the assembled kit. Hey everybody. Well, as you can see, I've got the kit fully assembled, painted and panel lined and stickers and all ready to go. As you can tell though, probably from the glare, it's missing the matte coat, and that's just because I spray matte coats with an air can, and I think my airbrush booth can handle it, but I would kind of rather just do it outside, and the weather is a little bit nasty today, so I'm going to do that a later day. But you know, without the matte coat, it still looks pretty cool. This is the first kit I've ever fully painted with a airbrush, and attempted pre-shading that. And you know, it came out pretty well. you know, not to like, I don't know, not to brag or anything, but I mean, for just watching other people do this and then figuring out, the, mixing your own colors and I'm pretty happy with it. The colors are basically, I have a few cans, let me find one of them, a few cans of paint like this, and mix it yourself and find the colors you like and then thin it out with some paint thinner and shoot it through your brush. And I really like it. I mean, I can definitely see where I've got a lot of room for improvement. But for the first time around, it's really encouraging to get results like this, because I know that from now on, it's going to look at least this good and then just improve over time. So I'm really looking forward to some of my future kits and getting the little kinks that there are to get worked out and make the next one look even better. One of the things kind of interesting, I think, is it's not so much the technique, I think. It's really learning your tools, learning your airbrush. I think for this is probably my biggest obstacle. I have a Neo by Iwata airbrush, which, if you know, is just kind of a cheapie. You can buy it online for about 40 bucks. I saw it at a Hobby Lobby for $80. So, don't buy it from Hobby Lobby if you want to get one. But it's just a normal airbrush. One thing about it, though, is that airbrush tends to accumulate a lot at the end, at the tip there. And if you're not careful when you're spraying, you have to kind of clear it out by just a few quick bursts of air before you start spraying. Otherwise, it's going to shoot out some of that collected paint and splatter on your kit. So if you're really good at airbrushing, I'm sure you know how to fix that. I have yet to figure that out, but other than that, I'm pleased with this. I'm really happy. Something else that's kind of interesting is I hear a lot of people talk about the colors and how, this green on camera looks a lot brighter than it is in real life. And it's actually true. The contrast I'm seeing here, it looks really dark down here and really bright right here. But when you see it in, in person, it doesn't look that noticeable. So it's just kind of interesting, something I thought I'd bring out. So as far as I think the last time you guys saw it, I just added the stickers to it like I was saying. I went with 05 because the service vehicle that I drive for work is number 5. And I think that'll be a theme going from now on my kits, if I have the opportunity to, is to put the unit number 05 on them. And just hope that my work never changes my service vehicle. Otherwise, I'll have a bunch of decals to change. Anyways, so yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, sticking through the videos. And if you guys have any questions or anything, please let me know at the bottom. But I'm going to call this guy done and get ready to move on to my next project, which should be for the Big Spring Contest over at SMA. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like the way it looks, and if you have any questions or anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you at the next video.